the Moneyologist, Miss Tanya Collins.
2, 1, 0.
Moneyality, 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 with the Moneyologist, Miss Tanya Collins.
2, 1, 0.
Moneyality.
Hi, everyone.
Moneyality, with the Moneyologist.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Moneyality with Tanya Collins, the Miss Moneyologist. Tonight, we have an amazing show. We're doing a show where I have invited previous guests that's been on to come back and talk about their Moneyality mindfulness for money in 2023. But before I bring my first guest on, I am going to share with you some of the things that I am considering for 2023. And the things that I'm really, really proud of for myself is that over the holiday, I have talked about being able to tap into my Moneyality types where I wanted to splurge a little more. So I am very proud that I did purchase things that were on the sale, but they weren't like clearance. So I was like, wow, I'm excited about that. I bought really nice gifts and really thought that I was not feeling stressed about gift giving this year. And I honestly just had very close family members to give gifts to. So it didn't really stress me like, oh my gosh. And I'm really kind of a last minute shopper. But overall, I have been very pleased with my Moneyality situation. I am a keeper. My 5 Moneyality types are: you are either a keeper, a tracker, a splurger, an adventurer, or a mingler. And I talk about them in reference to they are part of your Moneyality types and your personality types, which are equally the same, and that they are part of your financial DNA. And I say that because we are born with a foundation of how we're going to feel about certain things. And it's not that just your Moneyality type is just instantly seen. But as a child, early as 5 years old, I remember that I started recognizing that I was a saver and that I actually learned how to count money and to understand how to save money from buying my childhood favorites, which were snowballs at the community park that was across the street from me. So it has been a whirlwind. I have come on in October, starting my first podcast and having my family on, and just being able to share the message about Moneyality, knowing that my core audience is going to be children, K through 12. I want to get them started early so we can hinder them from making mistakes that possibly could change the trajectory of their financial health for the future. So I'm really wanting a lot of support with that. Moneyality provides you with a psychological understanding of how money works in your life. So it's not just about saving, but why would you save and things like that. So Moneyality gives you that world experience, and I share those world experiences by sharing stories about myself. And as a keeper and being an adventurer, I think of all these different things that I have experienced and ways that I have done very well as far as having financial enough financial savings to support myself when I was no longer to work in 2015 and to sustain myself, as I also have made poor choices in some things by maybe not taking a risk on an investment that was put right in front of me that could have made me thousands of dollars or something. So you have your give and takes with your Moneyality types. And so there's really no wrong or right answers when I talk to people and try to say, oh, that you should be doing this. I just try to meet them where they are, and we establish a roadmap for them to going forward to be able to be stronger in areas that they are good at, and then to be able to pull from the areas that they're currently maybe not pulling from. So with that being said, We are at the end of 2022. Guys, we have been through the pandemic. We have had inflation that is outrageous. I was in the grocery store, and I'm telling you, let me calm my face down because I was in the grocery store and I love grocery shopping. And I was seeing prices that were unbelievable. And I was like, are they real? Like, is this real life? And I couldn't believe, I can't even remember, like, juice that I used to purchase for $1.99 maybe is now 2.79. I mean, just like in months, it's just have jumped up. So I clearly for 2023 will not have a problem dieting because I will not be able to afford food. So that is part of my Moneyality mindfulness, is to avoid having an abundance of groceries that I have not been doing or using. And so now I'll be able to cut back on those. But before I bring on a guest again, I have four amazing previous guests that are going to be coming on, and I'm bringing them on individually so we can have time to discuss what they have been doing since they learned their Moneyality types. But before I do that, let me pay some bills and have my sponsors to come on. So my first sponsor is Nick Venti Design, one-stop shop for mobile apps, animation, and web design. He has done a phenomenal job building out my website. I am almost like really close, and I'm sure it'll be up and ready for 2023, is to have my website where you can go on and take your Moneyality assessment on the website. There is a small fee that'll be charged to assess it because we want to build this platform out for more children to be able to have access to taking the course of Moneyality. So we are using those funds to contribute toward my nonprofit, which is Some Kind of Way Solutions, which is financial focus, culturally connected, and life lessons. And that is for K through 12 as well. So that assessment will be up for adults to take, and it gives you information about what your Moneyality type is and how you are going to be able to have different strategies to help you. So that's Nick Venti Design, who helps me with that. And the next person is Joy Media Group, which is the normal producer. She's off tonight, so I'm kind of winging it myself, but I love having Joy Media Group support me. It's been a pleasure having her this year, and you can reach her at joymediagroup.net, and the number is 901-618-9501. And to go back to Nick Venti, his number is 662-902-9737, and that number is for Nick Venti Design. Okay, so with that being said, my guests are waiting, and I'm going to bring out my first guest, which is my amazing elder sister. Her name is Sharon Collins. We call her Shay. Hi, Shay, what's going on? She has blanked out on me. I don't know what's going on with my sister.
Oh, hi, sister. I think I might have. You hear me now?
I hear
I
you. I
hear you.
don't
I
see
don't see
you.
you. You don't see me?
Nope.
Nope. But I see you, and I'm up in the broadcast window. I don't know what's happening.
All
All
right,
right,
let's
let's
remove you
remove
for a
you for
minute
a
and I'll
minute.
bring
I'll
you
bring
come
you
back.
come back.
Okay, so I want to let her work on that. I think it's that she has her avatar on versus her link. So work on getting that done, sister, and I'll bring you back on. And now I am going to bring on, hold on. Let me see if I can get my sister back though before I really go to the next one. And something happened with her device, so I'm not seeing that happen. So my next guest, we're going to bring on is Kevin Ingram. Let me bring him up. Hi, Kevin.
Hey, how you doing, Tanya?
I'm good. Good to have you out tonight.
All right.
Kevin, so tell us a little about you. I mean, you were on, I can tell them that you were on my second show with your family, your wife, Yolanda, your son, Kellen. We didn't have Cassidy on, we just had her scores. But
hmm
you came on and shared about your moneyality types, and I'm going to flash that up for you. You were a splurger, you were a keeper, you were a mingler, adventurer, and tracker. That was the order that you had your
Yes,
assessment scores. So you remember those? You want to tell me what you thought about that back then?
correct. I feel the assessment was pretty accurate. Big thing is you just got to answer the questions truthfully. Don't try to overthink it and everything because normally it'll basically access what you're all about. So yeah, I would say it's fairly accurate. Definitely a splurger yet conservative where I'm a keeper too. So.
I hear you, Kevin. So tell us a little about you before we get into asking you the questions about 2023. Tell us, what do you do right now?
Well, I've had a variety of careers similar to yourself. Currently, I work for the Commonwealth, or here as it's called in Pennsylvania, but I'm a state employee. I run a DMV center in the suburb area of Philadelphia. So I've been doing that for about 6 years now. So we like it. Very unique position. We're only an hour out from New York City, 45 minutes from Philly. So really different. You get a really multicultural over here on the East Coast. So enjoying ourselves right now. So far, so good.
Great, Kevin. And I've known you since like our
Oh
freshman
my
years. And
goodness.
no, it wasn't my freshman year. We've known each other since 88, 89.
1990.
Was it 1990? Oh my gosh,
Yes.
I was older than I think. So
hmm
Kevin and I went to the University of Mississippi together. He was an amazing football player,
That's
and
right. That's right.
you can just tell from his whole ambiance now that he was destined to do great things.
That's
But
right. You are talking to Lima, Ohio's finest right here, Bean City. That's right. One and only. So,
I hear you. So welcome to Moneyality again. Welcome back. Thank you for coming back
yes,
and
indeed.
talking to me. So the question that I'm asking is, number one, has anything changed? Have you changed anything since you've learned your moneyality types?
Well, I would I would preface it to like a diet. It's like you're gonna eat what you want to eat, but at the same time, you're doing something or shouldn't be eating that. So it's always in the back of your mind. So certain times you're like, hold on, man, you're getting ridiculous. Don't buy that. Is that necessary? Do I really need that? But then other times you're like, forget that. As you can tell, I'm a splurger. I'm like, dude, I'm getting that. So then it's other times like, how many do you need all of that? So get what you need and move on. So but yeah, I would say the biggest thing I've gotten out of it is just consciousness, being aware of yourself and everything else. And of course, I would say the money, and then also the age. You know what you are, know how you are, and I would say the biggest thing is just recognizing that and acknowledging it, and just making informed decisions. So that's what I've gotten out of it since we were on here last time.
Well, thank you for sharing that. So the question is, and to tag along with what you're saying is, everybody's getting this question tonight. And the question is, how will knowing your moneyality type influence your mindfulness on money in 2023? So a lot of people say they do resolutions, but we don't have to call them resolutions. And I don't even really love that word. So you can think about it as a bucket list or your dream list or your mindfulness list of what you got to do to 2023. So I'm not asking you to say by October, I'm going to be X, Y, and Z, but just consciously thinking, what things are you considering putting into play about handling your finances for 2023?
Okay, that's a very interesting question. Well, as you have my score up there, I'm a splurger, so we're getting ready to splurge. My wife and I, we're getting ready to go to Hawaii next next month, beginning right after the new year. So we're really looking forward to that. We'll be on the West Coast for about a couple weeks, so we're really excited about that. So that'll be our splurge. But after we return, I would say, of course, after the money we're going to spend, definitely be a keeper and, balance your books and get everything together. So I don't know. It's kind of a tough question, but it's not. I would just say, once again, being mindful of what you're spending, everything. I try to simplify it. I would say I would try to simplify it as needs and wants. What do I really need and what do I want? That's not so much a goal, but something I'm going to try to do here in 2023. Like I say, keep everything to a minimum, because sometimes you already have everything. Do I need to go buy something? Wow, those shoes are actually fine. Just need to polish them. That shirt just needs to go in the cleaners. You have everything you need. We just get carried away. So yeah, my biggest thing, needs and wants, and just thinking before making spending money and just buying.
Okay, so I do want you to, from me as the Miss Moneyologist, to do as you just said, kind of be conscious of it. But I will say lists are important. So making lists of things that are going to be high priority for you. Is it certain bills you want to tackle, or is it things that you want to do other than the Hawaii trip? Do you want to go somewhere else? So those type of things can be prioritized by making a list and then kind of setting some priorities on what do you want to do with those. You have done this before. Your wife Yolanda and I are best friends. I know y'all have tried all types of different ways to save money, get out of debt, and all that. So I will say, Kevin, going forward for 2023, I wish you the best, but I definitely know that you can take your splurger mindset and combine it with your keeper, that we have you as a keeper, mingler, adventurer, and tracker. And you're so close with the keeper being your secondary moneyality type that you should be able to pull from that to be able to say how you want to control the splurger by doing some of the saving. And I think you're well on your way. You have the consciousness of it. And I'm very proud for you to even be talking in those terms, because changing your language and your thoughts together makes for a great success for sure.
All right, I just thought about something now. My son has AAU, so there you go. There's something I'm going to make my list so we can start saving all these trips this summer we have to go on. So
very good. I'm proud of that, Kevin. So please share my best wishes for a happy 2023 to you and your family, Yolanda, Kellen, Cassidy, and Miss Miss Wesley. So I know they're all there with you. So y'all have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your football. I'm glad you were able to come and take care. Any last words before you go?
I am so proud of you, Miss Money. All right. Love you and thank you. Blessings and love. Take it easy.
All right. Take care. Mwah. Bye. All right. So, guys, now we're going to try it again with my sister. I think she's ready. And bring her on. We have Shay coming to the screen.
You see me?
Hi, sister.
Hi, sister.
You looking good, girl. I love it. I love the black. You looking just beautiful. How are you? Tell us a little about you.
Okay. Let me start by saying I'm an educator. But I want to say that I am officially Dr. Sharon Collins. I got my doctorate last year from the University of Georgia in workforce education. So I'm an educator by trade, but I'm also an entrepreneur in that I've recently started a business of mine with a focus on wellness for educators, but not limited to just educators. It's for, everybody. Everybody needs to focus in on their wellness. My business is called True to Self Wellness Consulting. And it is a professional development business where I do professional development for teachers, for schools, but I'm also open to other organizations. It's just a new business, but I'm open to other organizations, churches, corporations, to help them focus on their wellness, and not just physical wellness as most people think of when you hear the word wellness, but holistic wellness. So I'm in terms of financial wellness. So I love what you're doing, Miss Moneyalogist, because I think that it's kind of related to my financial wellness, a piece that's a part of my professional development. I cover financial wellness, mental wellness, occupational wellness, intellectual wellness, and emotional, social wellness. So there are 5 aspects of wellness in my business that I focus on, but financial wellness is a part that kind of ties into what your business is, and I like that part, and I like the fact that we're going to get into, I guess, in a few minutes. We're going to talk about my money allergy personality based on the assessment that I did.
Yes,
So
ma'am. All right, continue. I'm sorry.
no. You go ahead, because I don't want to. You know how I talk.
Well, I appreciate all that. So I will say, anyone that's listening, if you or your company or anyone that needs these services, she is available, and I will be able to put her information in the comments down after the show. So definitely that is an amazing thing that's needed, especially as an educator myself. I've seen the stress of our colleagues, and
Yes.
it's a real life situation, even for the children. And I know that there is funding out there right now because of the pandemic for people to get consultants like you to come in. So it's just a matter of researching that. But before we move on, let's go into your previous show. You're a splurger, you are an adventurer, you were a mingler, a tracker, and a keeper. And so, can you tell me, what have you learned since we were on the show together about what you felt about your scores?
Well, Tanya, I'm glad you asked that question, and I'm glad that I did that assessment, because I knew that I was a splurger. Everyone knows that I'm a splurger and adventurer, all those things in that order. And not so much have I been a keeper. But since I've done that assessment with you, and because I've started to really focus, and just other conversations that you and I have had about my business and helping me to get started and keeping me motivated, I've decided that the splurging has to go. I have a new mindset. Oops. I am getting ready to unleash a beast in 2023. That's my new slogan. I'm about to unleash a beast that's going to be working towards my business, and most certainly a keeper, striving to have a successful business. So splurging is a thing of the past for me. The adventurer even has to get on the back burner, because I'm really focused on 2023 being my year. I see it being an opportunity for great success. I can already envision, I can already see me, doing great things with my business. So I'm excited about that part. Also, I wanted to say that, I lost my train of thought, but it was relevant in reference to the adventure part. It's hard for me to let go of that, because I have always been a fly by the seat of my pants kind of girl. That's my thing, I like to say. But that has, it has to go. I've got to stay, focused, and I owe a lot of it to you for encouraging and motivating me to really focus on my business that I was kind of working on, but trying to still be a splurger and trying to be an adventurer. So now I'm on track for
Thank
success.
you. Thank you for saying that, sister. I will do whatever, because it's really it's really a situation where a lack of I feel like people are ill-informed about things, not so much that they're just so ignorant of them, but they're just really ill-informed about understanding the financial processes. So thank you for the compliment, but also thank you for, just trusting yourself. I wrote you a poem for Christmas.
I got it and I read it and I really thought that, I mean, it was on time. It was on point. I really appreciated that. So I don't think I had a chance to speak with you about that, but it was perfect. It was
Thank
just
you.
another
I,
one of your tools to motivate me that, and it did just what you probably meant for it to do.
Thank you. I mean, I know people out there don't know. Miss Moneyalogist is a poet. I know it though. I am definitely a motivator as much as I can, but I don't really like the word motivator because I heard I think she's gone out for a minute, but I heard now you're back. I heard TD Jakes or someone say that motivation is you don't hear me? Do you hear me? Sister, are you back, Shay? I don't hear her sound, but as I was saying, motivation is for people that are. I'm gonna bring her back on in a minute. Let me know. Okay, so motivation is when people can be motivated at a conference, and they are there, and then when they leave, that motivation may be gone. So they say you need to be an inspirer, like you need to inspire people to see the process that they are going to embark on, not just motivate them but inspire them. So I prefer being an inspirer versus just a motivator, where it could be temporary. But anyway, let's see if she's back and add her back to the stream. Let's remove her from being muted. Okay, sister, you're back. You ready for the question? She says she still doesn't hear me, so I am going to let her figure that out. It's still saying I'm unmuting her. You got to unmute yourself. Somewhere you have muted yourself. Mm-mm. All right, so while she is figuring out to unmute herself, I am going to move on. I'm sending. So, anyway, I'm going to move on to my next guest, and I will come back to you in a few. I'm going to move her out, and I am going to now bring on a previous guest that I've had, a great entrepreneur. He is a friend of mine, have been friends for some years. We came from the same area, and this is William Harrison. So, hi, William.
Hello, how are you?
I am good. How are you?
I am doing good. I can't complain.
Good. So, thank you for taking time out of your schedule to join me tonight. You have been a previous guest on the show, and you had the most unbelievable scores out of all of my guests. You were the only one who had zeros in two areas. And it's
Keeping up that
okay.
good homework. Keeping up that good homework.
I know. So those are the order of your things. Tracker for you was very high. I didn't put the numbers. I just know from you being on the show previous that tracker was really high. Keeper, adventurer, and splurger and mingler were the zero scores that you had. I want to say this to you as an entrepreneur and as a businessman, that most of the business people that I have interviewed, I've had on my insurance guy, I've had on one of my personal financial advisors. I talk to people often, and I have allowed other people to take the assessment, and I have come to the conclusion I'm still doing research, but business owners, entrepreneurs have tracker and keeper in their top two.
Hmm.
They have one or the other. Oh, I know. I did my investment group. I'm in an investment group of mixed genders, and we did it at our Christmas party. And everyone in that group that took the assessment were either a tracker or a keeper as their primary or secondary. So I'm always thinking, wow, I had already wondered that when you and I spoke, is people that aspire to be entrepreneurs, are they going to have to be trackers and keepers because of how the business aspects of running a company works? So tell me what you think about that.
No, I think it is spot on because especially being a business owner, if you're not tracking your revenue and sales and expenses to the T, you don't know, but you don't have the insights in to make adjustments. Everything is in the numbers. As they say, the numbers don't lie unless you cook the books, like some of the business people in the world. But you got to be a tracker. Now that keeper actually is a byproduct of tracking, right? So when you start tracking, you see where you are actually spending more than you probably should. So in there, you start making those adjustments to free up that extra cash in order to keep it. Um, but the keeping part though is really what we're trying to get to as entrepreneurs. But oftentimes that keeping part is far down the road, and actually many entrepreneurs don't realize the keeping part until they exit. And that exit is when they sell their business, and then all of that equity that has been built up through tracking properly and managing properly, they get a chance to realize and finally get that chunk of money from that business that they've been working hard for. And some have been working 20 or 30 years and just barely making enough money to pay themselves. But when they exit out, that's kind of like the retirement for an entrepreneur when they sell their business.
I agree. And I have been studying, understanding how my business is going to work. How do I want to set up, what kind of entity I want to set up Moneyality to be. And when I think about that, I had a meeting with a lady that's a CFO of a company now, and she talked to me about, you got to have the platform ready, because once you start maybe getting cash coming in, that money generated, you got to understand how to disperse it out, have it in play, what you need, where it needs to go. And as a one woman show, kind of with a few staff members, I am planning that out. Like, I may get a contract for 600 or 1,000 children to take my course. So that is going to have to be shifted, and knowing where that money goes, how to put it over here, what employees am I going to have in play to manage that load. So I get all of that, and it's scary for me sometimes, but because you are such a great role model and I have access to you, I have access to other entrepreneurs, that I feel like I'm going to be okay. Right? I feel like I'm going to be okay. People are doing it every day, and the fear that I had is definitely going to be removed in 2023 of pushing my business out. So, with that being said, William, as a keeper, I'm sorry, as a tracker, as a keeper, adventurer, splurger, and mingler, I am going to ask you, have you done anything for the mingler and splurger aspects of your life since we had our first podcast? Have you introduced those? Have you pulled up from any of those to change how you have been handling your finances?
Absolutely not. I haven't made not one adjustment since our last when I was on last time. So now here's the part. Um, I am going to be making some adjustment, which this is probably a very good topic for you and your audience is the next piece now, the tracking and the keeping. But the big piece now that I'm going to be focused on is reducing business debt. Okay. And so with that, that's going to be my main focus for 2023 is restructuring, uh, paying down business debt, and then getting even more nimble to grow in 2024. So, coming out of COVID and all of that, did several acquisitions, did what everybody else was doing, from a perspective. Well, I wasn't doing what everybody else was doing, scared and kind of holding and watching and seeing what was happening. And I was actually executing and taking advantage of those opportunities during the pandemic. Now, with all of these entities, because in there you take on debt operations and all of that when you buy these companies. And so now it's time to actually pay down that debt, optimize, make it more efficient, and then coming out of probably 2024 heading into 2025, I'll start back acquiring other entities.
Okay. Very, very impressive, as I know you would be. But I do want you to think about it, William, from a personal perspective as well, because we do live and realize that how we live in business and personal life can definitely affect us.
Mhm.
And the last time on the show, you did mention that you wanted to prioritize your health and
Yep,
getting things
absolutely.
like that together. Well, let's think about it from a personal perspective with your moneyality types, because the splurger and the mingler, to bring you back up again, the splurger and the mingler, I don't doubt, like you said, when you go to bars or when you're out maybe with friends, you tend to splurge a little more.
Mhm.
And as a mingler, I think you do mingler as well, because I don't think anything. I know that you have been very giving to different organizations. You have donated things from your Civic company. So that part of being a mingler has been presented as a businessman. But as a person that's just a gentleman, taking care of yourself, do you see that any of those are going to change as far as being a splurger or a mingler? Or do you link everything from a business mindset?
Man, that is probably one of the most direct questions that oftentimes I would probably bullshit somebody, right? But here's the sad truth. My whole freaking world is business. When you, as far as personal, not so much. Now, I am going to be changing that. So when I look at adventure and splurge, I am going to do what the old adage said. I'm going to take some time to smell the roses over 2023. My personal travel was zero, like these other items here of adventure and splurger. All my travel had some business component tied to it, regardless of the nature of it. And so going forward, I am going to change that a little bit. On the personal side, I am going to move even to make a conscious decision, to do more things on the personal side and just not make it all business. But it's kind of hard to turn it off, because here's what people don't realize. And I think I may have said it before. Everybody's in business. Do not get it twisted that you have to have a company to be in business. If you go to work and you get your check, your whole thing about is managing that check, and hopefully you can manage it to the point that you have something left over when you get the next check, and you rolling that over in the savings and all of that. So you are in the business of self-management regardless. So even on the personal side, you should be really thinking business. Before I was a business owner, I used to play this game of, at the end of the year, how do I increase my profit margin from what I was earning from my job? And in that profit margin, it was basically meaning, how much can I save throughout the year? By the time I land at the end of the year, how much money do I have saved and not spent over that 12 months? And so taking that same mindset in business is the exact same. But to your point, though, all work, no play. Sometimes they say it makes you a dull person. I think the opposite, but I am going to play a little bit more, hang out on the family farm, do some of that country stuff, fishing, and just chill, right? And turn my mind off, because I do not turn my mind off. That's probably why I don't have any hair.
And I get that, because I was trained early on when I was doing Mary Kay that everything we did was a write-off. So every move I made, every trip I took, I was always thinking about how I was going to be able to use it to a write-off. But my health is what changed me. You know, my health, as you know, when I got into Moneyality and really was deep diving into it, was based on not being able to go back to work and having to deal with a disability. So I'm like, oh my gosh, where am I now? And that right there is not what I want anybody to have to do. I don't want a disability to have to hinder someone. So I am going to poke the question up, and you can tell me you've already kind of answered it, but how will knowing your Moneyality type influence your mindfulness on money in 2023? Do a personal and a business. Do one of each.
Mindfulness, you know, that I call it, all we got these buzzwords now. And I heard your sister talk earlier about wellness, right? So that's the latest thing. Self-care, mindfulness, wellness, right? You know, people
Right?
really understanding what that means. A lot of them think, oh, I'm at the spa, I'm doing self-care, living my best life, yada, 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 Facebook and all of that posting, right? But the mindfulness really comes in tune though, when you get into uh, some of these, I would call them spirituality, right? Like Deepak Chopra and those guys. I probably butchered his name, but really being mindfulness, right? Taking every morning to just become one with yourself. That's another thing I'm gonna focus on, kind of yoga and meditation. So in the morning, become one with yourself. Hear your breathing, understand your body, listen to your body, and react to some of those things that your body is telling you wrong. And when it comes to mindfulness, from a business perspective, I think I'm kind of already there. But here's where I'm going to focus even more, though. Really, take the money out of it, because really, what you have is an asset of people. And so, in there, I'm going to be very mindful about communication with my employees, my staff, my management team, taking into account that they got ideas and they got feelings, right? I am probably too much of a no nonsense, like check your feelings at the door. I don't care what happened on Saturday. That's not a good approach. So I got to get more in tune with them, but not to the point where they are dumping their issues on me and I'm absorbing them, because what a lot of people don't realize is that transfer of energy. A lot of people see it indirectly. They're at an event, somebody come into the room, and that whole room mood just changes, right? And so, just that bad energy, a lot of people carry around. You can feel it, and people need to be very mindful of who they are around and what they are absorbing, because we are just like batteries, and our charging stations when we go to sleep at night. But throughout the day, people can really drain your battery. And if you are not recharging yourself, you're going to crash and burn. I actually had a very low holidays, right? Because just been going. I just come off marathon road trip for like 9 days, and I just crashed and burned, right? And in there, all of that energy had been sucked out of me, but I never had a chance to replenish the battery. It's just like your cell phone, right? You you want to have it at 100%, but oftentimes we are running so much, we're kind of teetering between 0 and 50%. And your body is the same way. You create this sleep debt, and you will have to pay that debt. If you never pay it, you got people 55 looking like they're 70. You got people 30 looking like they're 50. And then you'll see an individual that's 60 and look young. They don't look 60, right? And you ask them, what have you been doing? They have a pretty rigid wellness plan. And they have a don't bring me no BS plan as well. So they are not absorbing that stuff that they're carrying from other people. They're like, hey, check that at the door. Don't bring those negative vibes around me. And with this mindful wellness and all of that, there's another little thing that everybody is doing, popping up in these stores, sage, right? Spraying the smoking out the bad vibes and the energy, right? I got my thoughts on that, but I'll hold those. They're probably not good
Please.
for this show.
Please.
At the
So
end of the day,
I
just be aware of your surroundings and the spirits that are in your circle.
I appreciate all of that. Very spot on. I agree with that. So, personally and professionally, you are, what I'm hearing you say is that you are going to step back and reassess dealing with your employees from a business perspective, and just from yourself. I'm not really quite sure what was the takeaway for yourself as a personal thought for 2023.
Personal thought.
For you for 2023. Yes.
Well, at the end of the day, you touched on it earlier, man. Health. That's going to be at the top of my list. That's one of the entities I actually acquired it this year. There's a fitness studio, and so in there, I'm actually going to become an instructor. So you cannot be not fully in shape. I'm decent now, but being an instructor, you're going to be totally on it, right? And so in there is going to drive that fitness side, because if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. Again, I still always echo the late Steve Jobs, billionaire, all the money in the freaking world, but he didn't have his health. And all that, he left it here, couldn't take it with him to the grave. And most of the time, when you ask those people, it's kind of cliche, but what would you do different? And all of them usually say, I would spend more time with family. I would have been more intentional about the loved ones around me, because at the end of the day, that's who's around that bed, not them billions of dollars stacked up around you. It's the people that you nurtured those relationships along the way. So personally, I'm going to go back and start nurturing friendships, family, and even build new, just regular personal relationship, non business. So that should help me get more fulfilling, because I said earlier, I am. It's kind of like these political people, far left, far right. I am far business, far too far actually. So I need to come back kind of in the middle and be an independent. So
Got you. I love that. So thank you for sharing. And one last question, if you can bring it into about 30 seconds. What are some things that you are doing in 2023 that you would want us to follow you on, or to tell us about, that we can look forward to seeing with any of your businesses, period? Just any of that. Anything.
Just be on the lookout with some things I'm going to be doing in the communities, specifically for young Black males. Oftentimes, they don't see individuals like me, so I'm going to be very intentional about mentorship of young Black males.
Okay. So what is happening in January? I know you're doing something, right? Are you still
Yes,
doing the
so
bowl?
we're gonna move it a little bit out, but it is the African American Academic Male Bowl that was started in Dallas by some friends of mine. It's 13 years out there. We basically going to replicate that same thing in Jackson, Mississippi, to really bring awareness that, hey, our young Black boys are smart. The
Yeah.
media does a very, very good job of highlighting a certain segment, right? And that's intentional. So I want to highlight those people that are not being highlighted. Just like my producer for the podcast we're launching in the spring as well, Kazari, very solid guy, right? But him coming out of Detroit, just right out the top, he's going to have this cloud on it. Same way with people coming out of Mississippi, you got this cloud on you. So my job is I'm gonna focus on sharing the positive on young Black males wherever they are.
Okay. Well, William, thank you again. Thank you for being a participant in my podcast earlier. So everybody that's watching, they can go back and see our episode that we did on being an entrepreneur. Thank you for coming, and have an amazing 2023. Best wishes to you and your company and all your adventures. Take care of your health. And thank you. Thank you again for just showing up and being a part of Moneyality. So take care. We'll see you in 2023.
All righty. See you. Thank you.
Okay, everyone. We are now going to bring on another guest that we had, a podcaster that was with me, and we did a great show over the holidays. And her name is Kiki Marie. She is on. Hi, Kiki. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am amazing. I am loving this. I'm loving having my previous guest on. It has been a pleasure. And the show that you and I did, I enjoyed that. And so now we're here to just kind of wrap it up. And I want you to tell me, I got your scores here. But before we get started, tell us who you are again and what you do.
All right. I'm Kiki Marie. I'm a podcaster on the Weekend Bump 96.3. My show is the OG Millennial Life Podcast, and it's really about different subject matters that's coming from a 40 and up point of view, because the way we think is not necessarily the way our parents think or have been thought or brought up. So um, I think I do have a different take on quite a few things. So I want, and I know I'm not the only one. So that was the reason why um, I wanted to start the podcast and some of the things I wanted to talk about. And I am in the banking industry, and that's what I do by day.
Great. All right, let me come back on. So, thank you for sharing that. Well, as you can see, I've put up your previous Moneyality types in the order that you shared them with us before. And you are splurger as your primary, a keeper as your secondary, tracker, adventurer, and mingler. So, Kiki, have anything changed in how you've been thinking about your finances since you have been on this show?
Well, I'm in the process of changing it. I'm trying to set up a way to. I'm not mad at the splurging because all of my scores were almost just about neck and neck, but I do want to increase the tracking part and the keeper, and I want to dabble a little bit in the adventurer side. So I want to be able to be a little bit more well-rounded, or maybe not let the splurger be the top one. um, be a little bit more mindful, and I also wanted to be able to incorporate that with my child as well.
Good job. I did like the fact that you were very consistent in yours. And I talked to you about being able to easily pull from them when they're that close. You're kind of like just merging in and out with them. And that's a beautiful balance to have. But I've shared with you also that sometimes the priorities are pulling them up and maybe just setting a plan for them. And that's where we talk about with going forward with 2023 is the question that you may or may not have gotten, but I'm going to read it to you is how will knowing your moneyality type influence your mindfulness on money in 2023? You're free to answer that in whichever way you feel that it resonates with you. There is no right or wrong answer on this. It's just how have you felt you're going to do different things for 2023. As I've spoken to some of the other guests, you can consider it resolutions, which I don't subscribe to. You can say it's your bucket list. It can be your life list. It can be your mindfulness list of whatever, because however we do it, it's got to be personal for you. And a lot of people get caught up in a lot of things of what they figure is the norm. But if it hasn't been working for you, you might need to stop, right? So having that as a segue into the question, what are your thoughts on going into 2023?
I want to. It's put into the forefront of how do I really feel about money. I think one of your questions on the assessment didn't stump me, but it really made me take a pause and really think about how I felt about money. A lot of people don't really think about their money till they want something, like a big purchase, like a car or a house. And they don't think about their credit. And I want to be able to think about my money and incorporate it into my everyday thoughts. Even if I don't have a big purchase that I'm wanting to get, or something that I'm trying to set up for in the next 2 to 3 years, or maybe even 5 years, I still need to have a goal for my money. So being able to come up with a plan, a goal, writing things out, strategizing how I'm going to reach the goals for my money is probably one thing I did take away from it. And that's how I'm going to be more mindful in 2023. Because like I said, I do want to explore a little bit and have my money work a little bit more for me this go around in 2023. So I have to keep that in the perspective.
Got you. And I know you say you have a daughter, and have you thought about having a conversation with her and you two together, creating some kind of list, a bucket list, or whatever you would want to bring together for 2023 with her? Because one thing that I love that I have seen things happen with some families, and one of the guys here that was on earlier, Kevin, I know his family is working on this as a family, is to actually sit down and do family 2023 bucket lists and things like that, because being inclusive with a family is so much more engaging, and having people to be accountable to. We always are looking for accountability partners. We want this and that. But if you live with a husband and a child and a family, mother, sisters, whatever, if y'all are living in the same household together, or even if you're not, you're still able to develop a yearly plan to do accountabilities. Let's say one thing, my cousin and I, she called me and told me about a family, her birthday trip for May. And I thought, wow, that's a good opportunity. So that's a goal I'm going to work with her on building that out, making sure that it's economically affordable for me, but I'm actually doing it with my family member so we can plan that out for 2023. So have you done that with your daughter? Is that something you've thought about? Or
Yes, it is. I said I was going to. One thing on our show that you mentioned was a clip from The Equalizer that stuck with me, and it was about just talking to your kids, finding the time. Because one of my things was, as a parent, we're always on the go. We have a lot of things on our minds when it comes to the kids, and a lot of times just sitting down at the end of the day and just having a conversation, asking how their day was, sometimes might not happen every day, or if at all. And you said that you can find the time. And you used the show from The Equalizer of the man while he was making breakfast. He was asking his kids, "Hey, do you know what a mutual bond is?" And that stuck with me because we all get the same amount of time in a day. Now, what you do with that time is your business, but you can be as effective or less effective as you want to be within those 24 hours that you get in every day, no more than anybody else. So finding the time and being intentional with my time with and teaching her about money, as well as trying to reframe my mindset a little bit about money myself, finding the time to do so is important.
I think that's great. I think that's spot on, Kiki. And you know what? I will tell you about your adventurous type. You said you wanted to maybe increase some of your adventure. Is that correct? I heard you say? Well,
Yes. Yes.
you know what? You and I now have gotten to cultivate a friendship, and honey, being with me is all about adventure. So you and I can spin off of that. We can start setting some boundaries and some accountability things together, because I love having accountability partners. I love being able to set boundaries with people and say, hey, we're working towards this as an equal goal, because sometimes not sometimes, I'm really not great at doing individual things. I admit that about myself. I am very much a mingler in that way. I guess I pull from a mingler side, that I really enjoy the networking. I enjoy the camaraderie of not allowing money to be the forefront of all things that I do, because when I'm doing personal things with family and friends, I really do try to pull back and just let it be as it is, as I was speaking with the William prior to him exiting off. So Yeah, I would bring adventure to your life, and I look forward to it. I'm glad that you were able to meet with me on my last event that I hosted. So you are already starting to be adventurous, girl.
I've really enjoyed our show. I've enjoyed all of your shows. I find them highly informative. The people that you pick all bring something to the table that I feel are very necessary, stuff that we need to talk about. And I enjoy just being around you. You're fun.
Thank you.
You do it. Yeah, you bring different things to the table, and that's enjoyable to be around
Thank
somebody that's
you.
fun and informative as well.
So before we close out with you, is there anything else you want to talk about for 2023 for your show, your podcast? What are your goals or anything for that? You can just wrap it up with what you feel right now.
All right. With my podcast, I want to be able to incorporate a little bit more of a whole. I want to talk about um, our overall wellness. I want to have some fun because we all need a little bit more fun. But I also want to have shows that talk about the spirituality and our wellness and our finances and just friends and whatever case, our personal lives. I want to be able to talk about being whole as possible, because I think as adults, and especially in our age, we're so used to giving out and we don't always do self-assessments of ourselves and making sure that we're okay mentally, physically, emotionally, financially. And I want to be able to just kind of bring it to the forefront and let us all just move forward and be better people than we were last year.
Perfect. What a perfect way to end that. I love that. So, Kiki, happy new year to you, and I look forward to being able to hang out for 2023 with you. I look forward for us possibly doing more collaborations as podcasters, and best wishes on all of those desires that you have.
And same to you. I enjoy it. And we will definitely do more shows in the future. You can ask me to show up anytime.
All right. I love that because it is a pleasure to have you. So take care and thank you for coming on. And we will talk. And again, everybody, this is Kiki Marie. She has her podcast on Bumpin' 96.3 FM. And we will talk more in 2023. Take care, girl. Have a good night.
You too. Happy New Year to you.
You too. Okay, guys. So I am going to bring my sister back on, and she and I are going to close this podcast out. I have enjoyed having my previous guest on, so I'm going to bring her back on, and we're going to kind of just wrap it up, and I'll come back with closing words as she and I finish. So, Shay, you're back. How are you?
I'm good. Can you hear me good now?
Yes, I can.
Every time I get on here, it's technical difficulties.
I think that's something that we just gonna have to know that those are breakthroughs. They're trying to stagnate us, but those are breakthroughs, honey. We
I
ain't letting
agree.
nothing get us down.
I agree. I
So,
concur definitely. Yes.
so I don't think we ever got to the question of how are you thinking about your future for 2023?
Well, we didn't, but I kind of answered it when I was introducing myself. I started telling you about how I was getting ready to unleash the beast in 2023, meaning that I was getting ready to be hit the ground running already. I've already started. And so for 2023, I can tell that my business is getting ready to really take off. I heard some of the things that William was saying while he was on, and he talked about wellness a little bit himself, and he broke down mindfulness and what mindfulness really means. And what a lot of what he said was interesting, and it was on point as well. And it's in line with what I say in terms of the spiritual wellness, peace of mind, is that you have to be so careful about the energy that other people have. And you and I have spoken about this several times about allowing people to affect your peace. And I told you that that's where I am too in life, that I'm trying to stay at a place of peace. So that's one of the things I'm going to do in terms of I'm letting go of the splurger. I would like to be more of a tracker and a keeper. As much as my business will allow me to do so, since this is my first year taking off with it. But most certainly I'm more mindful of my peace and things that affect my peace. That's very, very important. William brought that out, that people, you cannot allow people to bring negative energy in. And it does affect you, your whole body, and can cause stress. And of course, we know that stress kills us. So that's the important part of wellness, not just the physical wellness, but every aspect of mental. You can just let yourself be burned out and crash and burn. That was William's term. You can crash and burn if you're not very careful and mindful of what other people, you allow other people to bring into your little center, your focus. So I would like to end with that's one of the things I'm doing. I'm gonna make sure that I move from splurger for certain. But I'm definitely focused on me. Self-care is a generic word that people throw around a lot, but I am focused on me. Hence the name of my business, being true to self, wellness. And I think that title is so fitting. And that is what I encourage all of the people that I speak with to do, is to be true to themselves, to focus on you. What makes you happy? What keeps you motivated? What keeps you going? So uh, I would like to think that I've answered that question that you asked me. It was a good question. So in 2023, I'm excited, I'm motivated, and I'm looking forward to a prosperous year.
Okay, and so you know what? I will only make this comment when you say that I'm going to pull you up again as far as your scores. You said you were a spurger, adventurer, mingler, tracker, and keeper. And so when you say you're just going to just get rid of splurger, that is not what I would say, that we just get rid of them. You don't get rid of them, because it is a foundational part of who you are. And
Okay.
that's okay. And we talked about that the last time. Being a splurger is a good person to have on your team, because they keep it fresh for you. They keep you informed of maybe some of the newer things, the trendier things going. But the problem is when you're a circulator excessively. So what you're really saying is that you're just going to back up, maybe in removing the excessively part from circulating.
Exactly.
And because, as I talked again, when William and I talked about being an entrepreneur, that most people that are entrepreneurs that I have interviewed and had on my show and just done the assessment with, they are trackers and keepers as part of their number one primary or secondary Moneyality type. Those two for you are at the end.
Right.
So it is going to be, let's say, it's going to be more of an adjustment for you, because when you become into business, you will have people that you're going to need to pull for tracker and keeper, because trackers and keepers are going to be the successful people to manage businesses, to manage their companies. And
Right.
you're going to have to, as we know, be able to not only save money to even start them sometimes, because a lot of people in the African American community, we don't have inheritance that we just get to start companies with. So we have to do some form of saving, some form of collaborations with people to get money, and then to take that money and track it and plan it out. But what I will say, you're not alone in this. You have access to me, William, and other people that, you know, your brother, our brother, who is a business owner. And that's what I would recommend. When you find out that that's really what you want, start being in the middle of people. And I tell people this all the time: when you're meeting people, you're interviewing them, you're seeing where they are in their lives that can impact where you are headed in your life. So when I meet someone and they say, I had an interview with a meet and greet today, and I met this lady and she's the CFO, my ears just pop up, because I may be great at moneyality and finances, but I haven't really had to be a whole CFO of a business by myself. So she is someone that I'm about to really try to get to understand, that I be thinking, interviewing her in my head, not that she might not even know it, but I'm thinking, how can she and I collaborate to make things happen? So I get that, and I'll recommend that for you, because trackers and keepers need to always have people around them that understand that business and how money is used and how you have to be mindful of your staff and how are you going to pay people even when you're by yourself. Are you paying yourself enough money to sustain yourself? Are you writing off the right thing? So I'm going to recommend, definitely, sometimes you may need a business coach outside of your sister, and sometimes it is that investment that takes you over the top. And so a splurger shouldn't mind investing in something that would bring them more financial gain to be able to splurge more on. So those are my recommendations for you, sister.
Well, I thank you, sister.
And with that, any closing remarks from you about 2023? It can be personal, what other plans you have or anything like that.
Well, I did want to say one more thing about the splurging part, because you did say that it is circulating. I know it's circulating the money, but anytime I hear the word splurge, I think of excess or just satisfying your wants. And I've spent the majority of my life doing that, maintaining, just staying above water, staying afloat. And so I think it's time that I just do kind of focus on being a tracker and a keeper and letting the splurge part go, period. Because like I said, I've enjoyed it. I don't think I've lived in Atlanta, different places, and no city owes me anything. I teach my kids that you're either going to pay now and play later, or you're going to play now, and then of course you'll have to pay later. Well, I have paid, but I've done a lot of playing as well. So I think my playing part is over now, and it's time for me to get serious, get focused, because tomorrow's not promised, and I'm not getting any younger.
I hear you on that. And so as we're closing out, I will say that you are in Georgia, and tell us why you're out in Georgia.
I am in Georgia because my first granddaughter was born on Christmas Eve. So I'm here with my son and daughter-in-law, with my little granddaughter, and she is just adorable. Blake, well, I guess he can't come over and bring her to the camera, but yeah, he's holding her now, and I can't wait to get off the call so I can get back to being a grandmother to my first beautiful granddaughter.
Great.
That's
I
why I'm
love
here.
that. And I'm excited too to be another great aunt to
Right.
a beautiful baby. So thank you, Sister Shay Collins, Dr. Collins, for coming on. And we wish you the best for 2023. And if you are needed to talk about anything going forward, you are welcome to come to the show. We'll be excited to help promote your true to self business. So enjoy the rest of your holiday. Be safe out in Georgia. Drive home safely. And if I don't see you until 2023, sister, I love you.
Mwah. Love you too.
All right.
Goodbye.
Bye. All right, everyone. So that is bringing Moneyality with Tanya Collins, the Miss Moneyologist, to a close for 2022. And again, for 2023, for me, it really is just allowing myself to just keep enjoying life, to stay focused, and to just understand that this is a process and all things are meant to join together. And I love my experiences. I love sharing Moneyality. I look forward to it being put out in 2023 so more people can understand how they think and feel about money, and just being able to use that as a segue to understand all the other dynamics of finances for your health, and for not just for your health, but for your financial health and planning your future. So I want to thank all of my guests that were on tonight. It has been an amazing journey. I look forward to 2023 again, and just thank all of the people that are supporting me and my future supporters. I look forward to you joining my team, and I love just being the Miss Moneyologist. And life will only serve you as well as you serve it. So take care, and I am going to let us leave out with one of my favorite introduction of me. And I will look forward to being online and having this amazing podcast for 2023.
Moneyologist, Miss Tanya Collins.
2, 1, 0.
Moneyality, 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 with the moneyologist, Miss Tanya Collins.
2, 1.
All right. Happy New Year, everybody.
Moneyality, money.